Hello, 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 my peoples. Oh man, I don't even want to tell you about the stress I have had trying to get YouTube working tonight. It has been a pain. I could go into the boring details, but needless to say, I was streaming to nowhere for about 3 minutes, but then because I completely lost confidence, people weren't saying anything back when I was asking about how the sound was doing. I was like, and they just, they give you one stream key and you paste it in and they take you there. But then when you do the channel again, it actually ends up giving you a different stream key. Nightmare. Hating this new system. But anyway, you didn't come here to listen to me complain about how lame YouTube is. You guys know how lame YouTube is. So let's get on with things. Oh, shut up, Christy. There we go. Man, I had some, just some nice fire, because it's kind of autumnal stuff going on. And no, I don't want to stop the stream now. Still going live. Hurrah. At least it was 15 minutes this time. Are we a quarter after already? Okay, no, it was only 3 minutes. That's not so bad. Yeah, like I said, this whole new system, I don't understand it. Like, they give you a key and they tell you to use it, and then it takes you to a live link, but then anyway, again, I'm going to process that later. I'm going to get in a happy mood now. We're going to go to our happy places, because we have a lot of stuff to be talking about tonight. So I wouldn't want to do too much of a whole, boring stuff about me, but since it is my show and you showed up and I'm talking and you can't say anything back. No, just kidding. Yeah, I had sort of last minute travels for work, which meant I could connect with some friends back in the UK, but it also meant, sorry, I'm peeking a little bit. I'm going to take the sound down a little. Be a little softer on your ears. How about that? Yeah, I was able to meet up with Cog. I was in East Anglia, and we recorded the video when I was on holiday, sort of in the same area. It's like a home away from home for me. When I was up again, I didn't want to travel back right away, so I stayed an extra night. Actually, I ended up staying an extra 2 nights because Sunday travel in the UK is awful. And we were able to get together, and we'd recorded it, and I'd done like half of the video, but then I got busy and he was busy. We're like, okay, we're going to sit down. We're going to get this done. So if you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely go over to the channel of the Cognitive Society and check out the video we did together. It's pretty funny, I thought. It's the first time I've worked with green screen. I can probably bring it up here for you. Just plug that while we warm up and get into the impeachment stuff. Yeah, so cognitive, is that all coming up one word? No, it has to be 2 words. I hate typing. I hate misspelling things in public. This is the worst. There we go. Thank you. I think it's the first video up on his channel. Sargon has no problem with the far right. Yeah, so you guys can go over and check that out. Should I put a link in the chat? Yeah, I could do that. No, I don't want to report it. I'll just leave it where it is. You guys can check that out. Right, we're going to close that window now. That's dangerous. What do I do for my work? That changes on the day. That's a long answer. That's too long an answer. We need to get to this crazy news week. So anyway, go check out that video. But it just meant that, like I said, I didn't want to travel on a Sunday, so I traveled back late on a Monday. And I really should have scheduled this for tomorrow, because I'm really tired, guys. If I only go a half an hour, it's because I'm lame. So forgive me. All right. What I wanted to talk to you guys about, well, anyone else feel as if the news cycle has gone from, okay, once we used to have, we talked about a 24-hour news cycle, right? Since Trump became president, it feels like it's reduced down to about a 6-hour news cycle. And any story lasts about 6 hours before another one comes up that has to compete with it. Since the Ukraine story broke, it feels to me as if the news channels are my Twitter feed on latest tweets, because I literally cannot keep up with all the information. They don't even really have time to put stuff into context anymore because there's so much just spewing criminality and wrongdoing and obvious misuse of power and office and the national interest, national stature, in order to help this president out politically. They're leveraging the entire executive branch for Donald Trump's partisan interest, not the national interest. They are violating their oaths of office. Sorry, I got distracted there at the end and forgot to finish my word properly. One of the things that you can do is just look at the number of alerts. I think there are currently 10 alerts on my mobile phone. Now, not all of them are Trump related, but in these, just live updates on this stuff. There's Pompeo today has now stated that State Department officials won't appear for impeachment depositions. They're just not going to they're not going to participate with congressional oversight, which is what they have to do. I mean, congressional oversight is part of their duties, and they're just going to. I mean, we want to talk about the poorly constructed narrative that Obama was acting like a king. Donald Trump is acting like a mafioso. Then we've got this new story here about how the impeachment inquiry is energizing Trump's online donor base. This is an interesting story to me because I'd watched Morning Joe this morning, October 1st, and in there, Joe Scarborough goes on this country club Republican, completely just not in touch with reality at all rant about how the Republicans really don't want Donald Trump, and they want a real conservative and someone maybe like a Nikki Haley or a Mitt Romney, and that's who the Republicans really want. And I'm just thinking, Joe, have you looked at these Trump rallies? Have you looked to see the numbers of people who turn out for him and drive miles for him? Like, he's got a real mistaken view, misperception, misunderstanding of the fundamentals of the Republican Party across the country. They're not Republicans. There's a lot of people who aren't Republicans anymore. They're Trumpists. And when Donald Trump tweets about, or retweets, I should say, someone talking about a civil war, well, it's energizing his base, all of this stuff. And I haven't even had a chance to look at this article yet. So let's have a click on this. That's live updates. Okay, they're literally live updating this story because it is like a Twitter feed. Right. So this one is about the Pompeo's refusal to participate. This is also came out today that Attorney General William Barr held private meetings with overseas foreign intelligence officers seeking help in a Justice Department's inquiry that Trump hopes will discredit his own U.S. intelligence agency's conclusion that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. This is like a king and his little sort of circle of peer advisors engaging, doing whatever they want, whatever is. It's even worse than a king, because actually, like, the king had some responsibilities when it came to the law, at least it depends on, I should say, the English monarchs. He's probably trying to behave like more like a French monarch, but it's just stunning to me. This is so obviously impeachable behavior. 3 House committees issued subpoenas on Monday to Rudy Giuliani, demanding he turn over records, not that he appear, this is important, but they turn over records pertaining to his contacts regarding the Ukraine, the Biden family, and related matters. If you hadn't seen, Rudy Giuliani went on television with his mobile phone saying, I didn't do all this stuff on my own. I did this stuff, at the request of the State Department, and I have all of it right here. And then, last night on another news show, he was trying to claim, right? He's already said, I was acting on behalf of the State Department, right? Then he went on a news show saying that he had done the visit before the end of the Mueller testimony or something, and so therefore he was acting as a capacity of the president's personal attorney. He's trying to say everything possible, basically every single answer possible. It's, as Donnie Deutsch pointed out on Morning Joe, this is a typical authoritarian playbook. You just keep throwing confusion out there, and then the truth, the facts, just get lost in the mists, in the muddle, and in the fog. Oh my gosh, people have lots of things to say. So let me just have a look at, you're all tagging me in. What is going on, guys? We all want attention. So let's take a little break from the impeachment stuff. Just engage with the chat. Hello there, chat. What are you guys having to say? Christy Winter's last stream, I mentioned somebody's episode on Black Wall Street and the Tulsa race riot. So there's the link. There you go, everyone. Check that out. That's from Cassiopeia. Am I saying that right? 250 says, at least it was 15 minutes this time. Oh yeah, that was, I was only 3 minutes late because of streaming key confusion, cockwomblery. Let's see. Have I thought about moving to Twitch? No. I barely have an audience on YouTube. I'm not going to start over on Twitch. Maybe in 2020. 2019 is going to be a pretty busy year. Just getting online is a victory for me these days. What do I do for work? I said that was a pretty long answer. I will give you a minimal answer right now, in that the project I'm working for needs training videos delivered. And because I am in the unique position of being both a social scientist and having worked with digital data infrastructures, and I can make YouTube videos, I have been tasked with that. I guess you want to call it like public engagement with science, but also developing internal staff training materials to improve skills and knowledge across data archives in Europe. So actually today, I spent time scouting a location, planning out a lighting structure with backlights, fill lights, key lights, and a rim light, also doing some storyboarding. So I'm actually sort of like doing a bigger version of a YouTube channel at work, and then I come home and I do more YouTube. It's ridiculous. But I essentially have my own little production company going on until the end of December, when all of these things have to be done. Is that legal, just not showing up? Oh, the question is about the State Department. They could be held in contempt of Congress, I would imagine, because they have the right as Congress to conduct oversight. They're trying, of course, probably to create as much obstruction as possible to stop the Democrats from proceeding from taking a vote actually on articles of impeachment, by making the inquiry take as long as possible. And I think the Democrats are just going to go with information in the public record and things that they have the ability to acquire. It's obvious he's committed a crime. If the first article of impeachment is about violating his oath of office, honestly, that's you only need one. They'll probably have a lot more, because not everybody will be able politically to vote for every article of impeachment. But they don't need to, it doesn't need to take weeks and weeks and weeks. Let's see. Cassiopeia says, presumably they meant Republican donors, establishment and such, and not Republican voters. I think are you talking about Trump's base? Yeah, we haven't got that bit, even though they teased it in the headlines. So I don't know what they are there. And Wrongspeak auditor says, are we going to get a rendition of the impeachment song from you this stream? Maybe I'll do it as a Christmas medley with Creationist Cat. I'll have to work out more words though. Right. So thank you guys for all your chats. Appreciate that. Training videos, good kind or the boring kind? All right, I'll answer that quickly. I am looking at doing really kind of dynamic videos, ones that have, I guess, the inspirations, if you want to know what I'm talking about when I go to my experts to tell them what kind of visuals of their expertise I want to bring out. I talk about not the visuals of Crash Course, but the structure of Crash Course. One of those, hi, I'm so-and-so, and today we're going to learn yada, yada, yada. And then a little bit about it, and some concepts and definitions, and then some use cases, and then maybe some more advanced stuff for people who are a bit higher up who can handle that. And then in today's video, you learned yada, 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 with probably medium shots, with maybe infinite white backlit, and even got a boom mic set up. As I've said on Twitter, I can I can make lights using cake pans, LED daylight strips, and a broom pole for a boom mic. I am just the MacGyver. So keep away from PowerPoint. Yeah, we'll be doing picture-in-picture insets of graphics rather than sort of full screen PowerPoint slides. Exactly the kind of look I want to evolve away from, because academics are good at their expertise, but they have a hard time thinking about what needs to keep the eye engaged in a small screen like YouTube, or even on a big screen, YouTube instructional video. Okay, let's go back to this timeline. This is just at 12:45 p.m. today. Republicans and Democrats are sparring over Mike Pompeo accusations. Right? Did we even talk about the fact? Did I mention that Mike Pompeo was on the call where these 8 requests to the Ukrainian president happened? He's been now listed as having been on the call, and one time on a Sunday talk show, he pretended like he had no idea what happened on that call, and during a press conference, he also feigned ignorance about what happened on the call, even though he was saying, but the whistleblower's report I hear is not firsthand. So even though he hadn't read it, he'd heard it wasn't firsthand, and he repeated that to discredit it. But he was on the call the whole time. There's so much corruption. It's as if everybody, kicked over the big log in the woods of the Russia probe, and like a big fallen log, and we could have hauled it over, and there's sort of all of these scaly beetles and worms and stuff underneath, and everyone's like, but it's taken us so long to turn it over, or all the beetles sort of scattered, like the effect is gone. And then we just happen to, someone kicks over a stone, and there's just a ton of rot, and just everything starts to crumble. This administration is collapsing under the weight of its own corruption. So so Mike Pompeo was on the freaking call. He was on the call. Unbelievable. The RNC chairwoman is trying to accuse Democrats of a coup d'etat. Trump retweeted someone talking about a civil war. You see how this is fascism. Absolutely fascism. Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniels accused House Democrats of attempting a coup d'etat Tuesday. McDaniels took to Twitter to share an opinion piece written by former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, of course, in which he argued what Democrats are doing has nothing to do with an impeachment. This is the guy didn't he lead the Clinton impeachment? Do you see how fascists work? They don't care about the rule of law. They care about abusing power under the name of law, or changing the laws with their power. Right. This is another one. There are. I want to get to the polls. Generally, after this, I've got that Vox story lined up, but I haven't seen this. This sounds really interesting. So let's take a look. This was at 45 minutes earlier. When I told you the news cycle is like a Twitter feed, this is exactly what I mean. The Ukraine story appears to be hurting Trump and possibly Biden too. And I think the whole Biden thing is something we haven't had time or space to talk about, but maybe we can here on this show, because there is a real question. I actually think the Biden thing is probably Biden being caught up in this. I guess the longer it's going on, he doesn't really so much look like the victim as much as he's just being reported on. People, and so because his name is getting attached to this and all these accusations are being made, but the media doesn't do a really good job of saying these are discredited. They just sort of skip over that part a lot of times. You can see how that would have a negative downward pull on his approval ratings. But let's see what it says. The Ukraine story has spurred Democrats to announce a formal impeachment query of President Trump, and with those developments have come a noted rise in support for impeaching Trump. But there remains considerable uncertainty among the American public about the Democrats' underlying Ukraine accusations, according to a new poll. And importantly, a plurality seems to be internalizing Trump and his personal attorney Rudy Giuliani's dubious claims of potential wrongdoing by Biden. The Monmouth University poll shows people broadly disapprove of Trump's July phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky on which Trump asked Ukraine to pursue 2 investigations that carry potential political benefits for him. Americans say 63% to 21% that it is not appropriate for a president to make such requests of a foreign leader. Well, the 21%, that is his core fascist, that is his Trumpist base. That plus or minus, the margin of error of 3 or 4%, But yeah. Here's the story from 12 o'clock. We finally got to the one. So what do you guys say in there in the chat? I don't know if I want to PragerU stole Crash Course's aesthetic 250, going back to that other conversation. I don't know. I think they have that Crash Course actually has quite of an interesting background, and they have a lot of actually educational information that they put up when they have an animation, whereas PragerU just have that green screened teal color on which they put basic biatch kind of stuff that isn't properly accredited and it's just meant to tell a story, not inform. So anyway, what do you guys think? Trump tweeting about civil war. Atomwaffen Division is a neo-Nazi outfit, are also trying to whip up the fash for a civil war. Yeah. It's scary times, when it's the president of the United States. I think if it's not, Democrats, of course, will stand up and call these things out. But for the people who listen to Trump, until Republicans start standing up to him and showing some spine, there's not going to be that kind of movement. And even so, he's probably going to have a core. But all right. Right here we go. Online donor base. It's Trump's online donor base that's being energized by the impeachment inquiry. Let's see. Republican donor platform has been designed to capitalize on Trump's fervent online donor base. This is called WinRed. WinRed processed more than 13.7 million in donations from more than 276,000 contributors in the 6 days since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced the impeachment inquiry, and officials said Tuesday. Hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed to the House GOP nominee funds, officials said, referring to the vehicles that raise money for Republican challengers to vulnerable Democrats who support the impeachment inquiry. Boy, that's not going to be a winning strategy, I don't think. Not as an election point. Obviously, they're just doing it to get money now, but long term, that's not going to be what people are going to vote on in 2020. 6 days. This is Trump's base. This is, I told you earlier about Joe Scarborough going off on this weird Republican country club Republican view of the party, and the fact is that this 250,000 people are precisely the kinds of, or 300,000 people in 6 days, and it's only been 6 days. There are more who probably give other ways. Corey Lewandowski suggests he won't run for Senate so he can help Trump's re-election bid. Good luck there, mate. I guess it doesn't really help when you go in front of Congress and say you lie to the media all the time to then try to run for Congress. Senator Grassley says whistleblower deserves to be heard out and protected, but condemns uninformed speculation. Yeah, well, the readout from the White House notes is an uninformed speculation. Hopefully what he's talking about is and yes, this is another thing related to this. Trump seems to be actively trying to find out who the whistleblower is, because of course when he can't beat someone on the facts, he has to destroy them as a person, and that is what he is going to do. He is sort of like the old school anti-feminist troll brigading, except his followers have been known to try to make pipe bombs, and like the guy who was just convicted recently, right? He's got very dangerous, violent followers. Yeah, I said it. And especially when he's whipping them up with this sort of stuff. Where was I going with that? I can't remember now. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. What was I saying? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it was, the whistleblower, and Trump trying to expose him or her so that he can destroy their reputation, destroy their lives. I mean, it's Christine Blasey Ford, but with Trump's fury instead of, just one of his little minions. Oh, I guess I sorry guys, I didn't realize. Let me I didn't realize I was still blocking the screen there. My bad. There's that a little bit better. Sorry guys, I should look out for you a bit more. Right. Okay, and then this also happened an hour earlier. Trump takes fresh aim at Schiff, says he should be brought up on charges. Trump returned to Twitter late Tuesday morning to take fresh aim at Schiff, suggesting that the House Intelligence Committee chair should be brought up on charges for a statement he made during a hearing last week. And apparently he's asking why he's not being brought up on charges for fraudulently making up a statement and reading it to Congress as if the statement ... was made by the President of the United States. In his statement, Schiff offered an embellished recreation of Trump's call with Zelensky. Okay, Trump, who misquotes people all the time and lies about what they said. Schiff later said that it was meant as parody. Hey, Trump, it's just a joke. It's just a joke, mate. It's just a joke. Sargon should make a video defending. Yeah, where's Count Dankula? Come on, Trump, it's just a joke, mate. Schiff later said it was meant as parody, which he said should have been obvious to Trump. I heard the first part. I didn't hear the shade of the second part. Thank you, Adam Schiff. Okay, let's see. This is a story about Pompeo saying his officials won't show up for impeachment depositions. And I'm trying to see if they say whether or not Congress, what they can do about it. No. The 2016 electoral map tweeted by Trump on Tuesday morning included several errors depicting some counties that Clinton won as that he won. Of course, he sent out a fraudulent map because it was a fraudulent election. He has to lie. Yeah, and this also happened this morning. Trump calls for learning everything about the whistleblower. To quote him, right, so Trump on Tuesday questioned why he is not, quote, entitled to interview and learn everything about, unquote, a whistleblower who filed a complaint against him and whose identity is protected by federal statute. That's why. That's why, Donald. Their identity is protected. Andrew Backey, a lawyer representing the whistleblower, sent a letter on Saturday to Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire expressing fears for his client's safety. In the letter, the attorney cited Trump's remarks last week in which he said whoever gave the whistleblower the information about the call was close to a spy and alluded to the death penalty. Backey also said that certain individuals have issued a $50,000 bounty for any information relating to his client's identity. This is criminal, honestly. Also, Trump's contention that the whistleblower only had second information is at odds with a statement released by Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson. And this is how fascist regimes act. They just lie and intimidate and try to, they count on public apathy to not get caught out. And speaking of that, hello, Flint Reed, how you doing? Can you imagine a debate between Trump and Biden, just a back and forth? Seriously, miss me with those two doing a dick measuring contest, honestly. No. Obviously, Biden, he would be meh. I think he would be a pretty forgettable president because, let's face it, what is Joe Biden offering? A second term of Obama, which, is a nice way to sell our positive memories of what it was like when we actually had a president who wasn't a criminal. But that's not a forward-looking vision of the future. You can't make progress if you're trying to recreate the past. You have to, fix things and keep moving forward. Presidential witness tampering, absolutely, I think, and obstruction of justice. Could it be because Trump supporters would most likely kill them? Exactly, that's why they need to be protected. Although whoever the whistleblower is apparently going to be testifying to Adam Schiff's committee, I think it was. They've made arrangements to hear directly from them. So, but on this issue of impeachment, we're gonna... Oh, guys, okay, by the way, so 2 things, because we've already been going 30 minutes. 1, like I said, I am tired. But 2, I know I wasn't going to get to the PragerU thing, which is what I do on a Sunday, and here's what I have to offer you. This Thursday is a public holiday in Germany, and so I am off of work. And I thought that instead of, to kind of make up for the Sunday stream, I could do PragerU on Thursday instead. That way, it will also get your fill of PragerU dunking for the week. And I don't have any plans Thursday night, so, it's fine. Or I could do it during the day when I would normally do a Sunday show. Maybe what I'll do is on the Twitters, I will put up a poll. Should I do that now? I should probably do that now. Let's do that live stream. No, I don't want to type in public. It's like doing math in public. Everyone just watches your mistakes and laughs at you, and nobody remembers when you do it well. So remind me afterwards if I forget. But trying to either it will be at the usual time, which is noon my time, which I think is 6 o'clock in the morning, so you could wake up with me, or I could probably kick it back to like 2 o'clock. It didn't have to be noon. It could be a little bit later, like 2 o'clock or something. That way it's still not a bad time for Europeans. Or I could do it like at this time. So, poll time. I don't know what that means. Can I? What video I'll be covering? Hey, we could. What you want? You guys tag me on Twitter or some recommendations. I haven't picked a PragerU video yet. I only decided to do that Thursday thing today. So you guys give me too much credit for planning. 2 p.m. GMT. Use EST or London time. I don't know. GMT, isn't GMT 1 hour ahead of London time? I don't know what that is. At the end of the stream, can I explain the Grievous study hoax? Oh, right. I dislike the hoaxers a lot. Maybe I can do a video about that. But again, get me on Twitter. I won't remember that. And I should prep for that. So, okay. Good talking to you, chat. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. If I can figure out the freaking stream key. I'm so sad. I used to be good at this, you guys. I used to be able to put on shows without a problem, and now it's so stressful. It makes me want to cry. UK is on BST, GMT plus 1. Great. So GMT plus 1 is 2 p.m. GMT and GMT plus 1. And if it's 2 o'clock GMT, that's 3 o'clock British time. Just do the math for me. Yeah, but Greenwich Mean Time isn't Greenwich time. All right, I'm going to ignore the chat. You guys are just confusing me. You're not helping. I'm tired. My brain is melting from all processing. My body just isn't continuous. I'm on DMT. That sounds better. It feels like my brain is right now. I feel like I'm in a parallel universe. Okay, so we're going to close on this. We're going to do some PragerU on Thursday, and then we're going to be back to our regular scheduled Sunday program. And if you missed me in the meantime, you can go watch me on Cognitive Society's channel in that 25-minute video where we dunk on Carl, where he again doesn't read his own sources. Carl, it actually says the author of the memo, and he gets it wrong. The author of the memo he's quoting is listed in the document on his screen, and he attributes it to somebody else. I still can't, you guys. All right, turning for the third time now. This is from Vox, so again, all credit to them. Go check them out. That's a great site. There are so many polls now that are all telling us the same story. You guys have maybe heard me say before that if you do a cross-sectional poll, it's kind of like just dipping your, thermometer into the public opinion waters. And it's sort of like when if you're boiling up macaroni noodles and you want to see if they're soft, you don't get them all out. You do a sample. You randomly take one and you test it, and maybe one of them got caught in a whirlwind and is a little bit harder than the rest, and another one got really close to the bottom and is a little bit mushy already. But generally you get a sense of the doneness overall. All right, this is very scientifically precise description of random sampling technique. But a cross-sectional poll will just tell you about that snapshot in time. So what we look for more often is we're looking for trends. We're looking to see if things stay the same over time or if they change over time. And if they change over the time, do they go up or do they go down? How do they change? This is what interests us as political scientists, because elections are always ahead of the moving target of whatever the country is most concerned about at that time. Elections are fixed, events are not, as we can see from this last week, which one can point to sum up the old adage that a week is a lifetime in politics. This last week has been a lifetime. I'm graying in front of you guys. That's what it's dog years. Every day is like 7 dog years for me. I'm going to be ready for retirement by mid-November. But when we look at these trends, what we're seeing now is something that's quite remarkable in terms of public mood turning on a dime in a way that, in terms of a political issue, I've maybe only seen when it comes to maybe gun control, when people have that sort of immediate reaction after an event. What we're seeing is that poll after poll after poll, all of course snapshots, but each snapshot is another one of those grabbing the macaroni noodle out of the pot, and the more samples you take, the better representation you get of where the whole are. And all of these polls are saying the same thing, that there has been a snap shift in where American attitudes are in the aggregate on the issue of the impeachment inquiry and impeachment in some cases, depending how the polls are worded. And this is very bad news for Donald Trump. The other thing about this is we're talking about, and this is important, swings outside of the margin of error. I have been an advocate for not only doing point estimate polling reports, but putting in the error bars. So you can see plus or minus 2% around the point estimate against the two candidates and understand why they're in a statistical dead heat. The changes that we're observing in these polls are outside of the margin of error. They can't be explained just in terms of when we're doing change over time, maybe, a sampling error in one direction. We're talking about definite shifts in attitude. So coming back to this, in a conference call with House Democrats this weekend, Speaker Nancy Pelosi made her case for impeachment by pointing to some recent polls. I will only close by saying the polls have changed drastically about this, Pelosi said, as she laid out her plans for moving forward with impeachment, according to an aide on the call. While there are only a few new polls on the subject, and their findings certainly have the potential to fluctuate, early surveys back up Pelosi's point. By the way, when I came on air, I don't even think it's got the Quinnipiac poll, but I think there was also today, there was something in the USA Today as well, another poll. Hold on, Ipsos. Is that one listed in here? I had made notes about the Ipsos Reuters? Yeah, Ipsos Reuters, which came out right before the show started, and I wrote these numbers down because I wasn't sure I'd look them up again online. So in this case, the polls show the momentum. Yeah, right. So this was reported on the 1st of October. Reuters, Ipsos. The last time they asked, should the president be impeached? That was on the 24th of September. 37% of respondents said he should be impeached. 45% he should not be impeached. I'm not reading this off the screen, you guys. I made my own notes. So if you're looking at the screen, you won't see this. That's plus or minus, well, I guess the most recent one is plus or minus 2.4%. So then they asked the same question and released the results on the 31st of September, 7 days later. In that poll, 45% said he should be impeached, and 41% said he should not. So again, the last week, those numbers plus or minus around 2.5%, 37 should be, 45% should not. This week, 45% should, 41% should not. these are all adding up to a real, again, like I said, people, it's kind of like you feel like people's heads have done a double take, like they were zoned out. Mueller had been going on forever. It was hyped. It never lived up to the hype. It was complicated. The report was 400 pages long. There are classified things. People argued over it all the time. This is a very, it's a soundbite narrative. The president used taxpayer-funded military aid to try to leverage out of a foreign leader information that would help him win re-election. He used your tax dollars and our national sort of prestige, standing in front of what they needed in order to intimidate a foreign leader into helping him take down a political rival. You can't do that as president. And so this is really exciting for me. I mean, it's a horrible time to be an American, but as far as the politics go, this is the best I have felt in terms of moving forward, probably since the midterm elections. The last time I felt this sort of boost, like the country had taken a step in the right direction, was last November. And now on this, I think as more evidence comes out, because we're finding out Bill Barr has been flying all over the world trying to meet with foreign intelligence agencies to undermine our own intelligence agency. Mike Pompeo sat in on the call, lied about it, used his State Department to give cover to Rudy Giuliani to go to the, it's just, it's like a mafioso, story. It's a shakedown. It's criminality. And it was all done from the office of the White House. And I think people are, as the stories come out, and even though Trump is going to try to make it clouded, it's undeniable. And of course, in this case, which is always true, support for impeachment largely depends on party affiliation. When it comes to if you're talking about political measures of the president or the economy, people whose party, has people whose president is in the White House feel better about the economy than people whose would have preferred his opponent. And of course, this is going to be the case too. But we know Republicans, you can't count on Republicans to support impeachment, although it's going to be nice. But who you really want to swing here are independents. You need Democrats plus independents. And then you're going to have Trump's hardcore that will always do what they're going to do. And as independents move more and more towards impeachment, Trump's electability is just going to go through the floor. Even if he survives a Senate vote, which I don't even know how the Republicans are going to justify that. Because Mitch McConnell did say he would bring it forward because he would have to by the Senate rules. He has to take the articles of impeachment. He can't just ignore them. But what he will do with them afterwards, whether or not there will be an actual fair vote, we'll have to see. So that is just craziness. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because, by tomorrow, all of this will be replaced by new stuff that will have come out. And now that I have closed out that window, I can make the fireplace a little more cozy, bigger, and transition over so you guys, if it's cold where you are, you can, isn't that nice? Feels nice, warm, and cozy. Let's see. Oh, people stopped tagging me. Good. All that orange on my screen. But now it's harder to read. Anyone got anything you want to say or ask me anything before we wrap it up here until I see you guys on Thursday? So yes, I even went 15 minutes longer than I planned to. Of course, I started 3 minutes later than I started live 3 minutes later than I started at 9 because I started twice. But I'm not going to, things in the UK, I don't even know. I see you guys talking about Bojo. And of course, he was accused of grabbing a woman's thigh. So he's got issues all over the place. And I also saw on Morning Joe that they were talking about Boris Johnson's plan to try to flip seats in the north. But on Navarro, I can't remember the name of it, media, they went over some really interesting data from a study I used to work on, the British election study, where the respondents were asked for their party affiliation, and then they were asked on a 1 to 10 scale, how likely are you to vote for people from this party. Like if, let's say I'm a Labour voter and say, okay, I'm Labour, and then I'd be asked on a 1 to 10 scale, how likely are you to vote for an MP in your district that's a Lib Dem or Green or not UKIP because they're dead, the Brexit party, or the Tories, right? And if you look at people who identify as Labour, they give a higher chance of voting for the Brexit party than voting for the Conservative Party. So it's not a very good political tact. If Boris Johnson is planning on winning over Labour voters, I think, well, Labour voters who are, let's say, 30 years and older, for sure, who know of and hate Thatcher with every core of their being, and there's absolutely no way. Why am I called the general? I think it was, didn't Sargon call me the general of the SJWs or something? I don't know. That meme it's so old now. I think that was it. I think there was some Sargon thing about me being the general of army, some SJW army, and Kevin thought it was hilarious. That's my vague recollection of it. Yeah, the happy hour is more fun. I don't do as many dick jokes as Kevin does. I'm more nerdy than that. I'm like the NPR part of the dick joke show sometimes. No, Kevin knows his stuff. Kevin's really good at following British politics. So, hi, Cog. Fuck you. I know you're doing that to wind me up. All right, so now you guys are just ribbing me. All right, I think we're coming to the end of the show then. So yes, I will be back on Thursday. I will try to figure out what time 2 GMT is. I have absolutely no ability to calculate that. I have EST in my head, CST, and BST, and of course UCT. So I have 4 time zones in my head. Don't ask me to do GMT as well. All right, guys, it's been fantastic. Thank you for stopping by. And until Thursday, I've been Christy. You guys have been awesome, and have a great week until I see you again. Bye-bye.